Mozart, before he died, was able to really complete, top to bottom, the first several sections of his Requiem Mass. What's called the introit, the movements that are called Requiem and Kyrie, and almost all of the next big section of the Mass, which is called the sequence, which is all based on a single medieval poem, but has multiple movements. It has 6 movements. He didn't write all of the parts out, but he gave all the indications. I mean, there's no real questions about how to realize those bits. He died after writing, I think it was bar number 8 of the last of those movements, the Lacrimosa. Then there are a couple of later movements that he sketched out completely. Again, no question that music is Mozart's. But then the last few sections of the Mass, we have no direct indication that Mozart had a hand in them, except that it's hard to believe that Süssmayr could have come up with this music on his own. So many musicians assume that there were sketches that either Mozart wrote or dictated or somehow suggested to Süssmayr that he used in finishing this piece. And then Süssmayr, for the very last movement, reused Mozart's first movement, which wasn't just an expediency, it was a typical practice in such a piece at such a time to do that way, to round the piece off by coming back to the music with which it begins. For example, Bach does the similar thing in the B minor Mass. His last music, the last movement, is a movement from earlier in the piece, with of course a different text. Süssmayr also took a few other shortcuts earlier in the piece, in some places, a couple of places in the piece, that typically would end with, once again, a fugue, which is a very sophisticated and elaborate form of music. And maybe Süssmayr wasn't up to it, or maybe he didn't have the time, or whatever, but he didn't write fugues, he just wrote quickie little endings. So some people are tempted to provide their own fugues. So basically we do what Süssmayr did, but in addition by a very wonderful musician named Franz Bayer, that kind of fixes the worst mistakes of Süssmayr without changing radically what people already, many of them, those who know the piece, what they already know and love. And I think that's the best compromise for performing Mozart.